every single day. Of course you want to be a champion. Of course you want to be working towards winning titles.
Be happy, but never satisfied.
Better than ever. My first few years of college, I threw every single day. Of course you want to be a champion. Of course you want to be working towards winning titles.
Be happy, but never satisfied.
Better than ever. My first few years of college, I threw every single day. Of course you want to be a champion. Of course you want to be working towards winning titles.
Be happy, but never satisfied.
Better than ever. My first few years of college, I threw every single day. Of course you want to be a champion. Of course you want to be working towards winning titles.
Be happy, but never satisfied.
Better than ever. My first few years of college, I threw every single day. Of course you want to be a champion. Of course you want to be working towards winning titles.
Be happy, but never satisfied.
Watch the cables. Yeah, we can't see the end zone otherwise, though. Okay. Cables, we're good. Just gonna move those away from us. Sorry. Yeah. La, 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 la. She didn't know I used the Human Torch was denied a bank loan. Unique New York. Unique New York.
But if I'm being realistic, yeah, but I always look for the underdog. But like the 9 they have an option. Yeah, exactly. You tell them that.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, ultimate fans across the country and across the world. We're here in beautiful Surrey, BC at the Newton Athletic Park to bring you the Junior Open Final at the Canadian Ultimate Championships. Before we get going, I'm going to do a land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we are living, working, and playing on the unceded traditional territories of the Semiahmoo, the Katzie, the Kwantlen, the Coquitlam, the Kaikite, and the Tsawwassen nations. We appreciate and acknowledge that today. For those watching and tuning in, we are watching the Junior Open Final of the Canadian Ultimate Championships 2023. I'm Kevin Underhill in the booth with my esteemed colleague, Clay Howlett. Clay, you and I have been here all weekend. What can you tell me about this Junior Open Final between Manitoba and Vancouver Dyno?
Here's what I can tell you. Dyno not really challenged yet in this tournament. They haven't had any tight squeezes through to advance to here. Manitoba, on the other hand, the comeback story of this year, dropping their first 3 games in their first-tier power pool and then having to claw their way back. They had a universe win earlier in the tournament to get to their semi. They had a big win over Vortex this morning, really locking it down in the second half and playing some of the best Ultimate I've seen them play this tournament. And as the defending champs, you love to see this energy, gritty, coming all the way back. I hope we're in for the same sort of story this game, Kevin.
Absolutely. Manitoba in dark, pulling to Dyno in white, receiving. Dyno undefeated in pool play, losing their crossover, but not really causing any problems as they defeated T10 and Ignite on the way to this game, whereas Manitoba beat Origine and Vortex on the way to this game, and we picked this up in point 1 as they run a side stack out to Rex Ewan. McCullough finds Ewan. Looks for O'Donnell on the far side. Clean offense here coming out of a little bit of a cyclone side stack, and it's immediately up on the far side. Upline there. This is Chen. Chen all the way to the goal, and immediately Chia cashes in, and Dyno with an absolutely minted clinical offensive point to start this game. And Clay, you couldn't ask for more of a dream start for this Dyno team, just running that side stack to perfection and marching it up the open side for a goal.
Yeah, really using their speed to make that happen. I was a little surprised based on the fact that, Manitoba has recon on this team. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they may have played them as well. And I'm surprised that allowing the jab step, the scoop cuts to strike up the line from the handlers, that up the line cut that handlers make, wasn't really challenged that point. And I would think against this team, Dyno that has showed that they are so fast, allowing that cut to happen, not posting up and taking it away is just that's a death sentence. You have to take that particular tactic away. So I want to see that adjustment from the D on Manitoba, but that was a D point. We're going to get a chance to see their O-line here.
Yep, no damage done yet. That being said, Dyno can feel really happy with a nice clinical first O point. And now they're all set to pull, and we get our first look at this Manitoba offensive unit. And this group is stapled by Miles Raychura and the goal-scoring prowess of Ezreal Venkatesamy, who has 14 goals in this tournament. That pull slides out of bounds and will be brought up to the cone. Disc in the middle now. It's Cale Peterson. Cale Peterson looking upfield. An immediate huck deep. Max Howes settling underneath it and grabbed, and a little bit of contact there as Ryan Sion was in the neighborhood.
Kevin, I did see House's left hand reach out. I don't know if it made a difference because I didn't actually see if he pulled it down as I believe that's Wang is arguing. So we've got Linda Kudo and Ben Clar in the orange talking about what they saw, ready contextually to help out if they're asked.
Looks like Linda Kudo, observer there in orange, has ruled no foul. The disc will stay with Max Howes inside the brick mark as Manitoba looks to attack the goal. Immediately dished. This is Jansen Cornelson. Through, immediately up line, and a pancake Leo for the goal. And this is going to be coming back on a pick call there. Miles Raychura had the disc, and I think there's a pick on the previous throw before the strike cut for the goal. I think the disc will stay in the hands of Miles Raychura.
Azrael Van Katesmy so fast up that line. He has really showcased his speed this tournament, showing Dyno that he's as fast, faster even, than some of their speedsters.
All right, the disc will get tapped in Raychura's hand. Venkatesamy up line for that goal and layout, but it is coming back. Venkatesamy now sets the stack with Raychura with the disc. Miles Wong on the defense. Disc in the backfield. This is Pollitt. Pollitt through. Man back into the backfield. Running a little give-go, and the disc shot out to the far side to Pollitt. Cooper Pollitt looking upfield. Has Venkatesamy, opts into the backfield to Raychura. Raychura now staring upfield. Throws a little floppy break out to the offside. Immediately centered, and it's overshot, and that's not going to be completed. Just a little rush throw there by Cale Peterson, and this Dyno D-line takes over.
Had the discipline in front of the end zone, Kev. Really reminiscent of their game earlier today, but there, just the execution working a little too fast.
Colin Wu now immediately moves it up to Sia. Sorry, this is Wong. Wong in the backfield, back to Kobe Ma. Ma goes to the far side. It's Cian. Cian out to Hunter Cochran. Cochran looks into the backfield. Nice bail shot. And immediately shot around into the hands of Wong. Miles Wong playing a little give-go here with Kobe Ma. Ma looking upfield. Nice sharp inside shot there. That's Colin Wu. Wu now looking back to Ma. And it's knocked away there by the defense. Manitoba capitalizing on that one. And immediately picked up by Miles Raychura. Raychura doesn't like what he sees, so he swings it around. Into the hands of number 7, Silas Neufeld. Silas Neufeld over to this side. Quick movement here, and it's Neufeld with it. Neufeld shoots right up the middle. That's Mann. Daniel Mann now. Back to Neufeld. Neufeld centering here. Calming the pace down. Shoots upfield and just in and out of the hands of Cale Peterson, who couldn't quite wrap that one up. Having a bit of a shaky point is here, Peterson. Dyno immediately fakes deep instead, throws a little under here to Colin Wu. Wu goes upfield, and there's a call as all the players on the field had stopped moving. Looks like this is going to go back as Joshua Falk had that one.
Travel call, no contest, Kev, signaled by the observers. You can call it travel. They are appropriate if it gives an advantage.
Wu with the disc here, covered by Miles Raychura. Out to the far side. Immediately upfield. That's number 16, Miles Wong. Wong looking upfield. Instead, goes into the backfield. It's Ma. Ma with it, covered by Raychura. To the far side. That's Sia. That's Wong, rather. Wong, upfield. No real option. Instead, looks for the upline. There's no bail, so a scooper over the top. Just in and out of the hands and knocked away there.
Manitoba shutting down that up the line cut, forcing an error. I want to see that more and more because that is Dyno's bread and butter, off the hands of Peterson again.
And it looks like there's an injury sub in the backfield required. As this is Max Howes, who came down with that sky earlier on. Looks like he's gingerly walking off, pointing to his hip. Unclear exactly about what happened. This turnover will stand likely as Peterson couldn't reel that one in close to his own brick mark. And it could just be some finals jitters here, Clay. It's, you know, that Dyno offensive point was so clean. And even though their first huck connected, it's just a couple errors along the way. And this Manitoba team just doesn't look completely right now.
Noonan coming in for Howes. I still want to see Manitoba here. I mean, we know we're going to see that vertical stack and a big handler movement. If Manitoba can keep shutting down up the line, they'll be in a good spot. Not exactly rooting for Manitoba, but I love to see teams making adaptations for against the offense they're playing.
Kobe Ma walks up to the disc and taps it in. Looks into the backfield. This time it's an upline that connects with Benjamin Jang. Travel called as he shot upfield there.
Right, you're fairly conscious of where his opponent's feet are.
Could be something that he's noticed in these first few possessions, that Ma trying to drags that back pivot foot. So the travel called is uncontested, and it looks like it's going to come in at 6. Ben Jang was streaking up the line. Ma now taps it in. Flips it to Jang. Ben Jang has the disc on the far sideline with Ma on the bail. Goes back to Ma. Ma looking across. Instead, opts for Jang and double cut. Jang now staring upfield. Bit of a messy end zone. Instead, circles it to Ma. And Ma goes out the other side, and that's the connection they wanted to. As number 16, Miles Wong, connects for the goal. And that's just good textbook offense. When they're able to hit the backfield bails, they're able to get it around, and Dyno jumps out to a 2-0 lead.
Now, one thing I want to point out, even though Dyno has this lead, earlier today when Manitoba was playing Vortex, the score was exactly the same, and Manitoba came back with a lot of composure. They didn't seem phased. You see a few players over there maybe thinking to themselves, oh, I want that one back, but not dejected, not giving up. And then after they won the second half, they came through and the first half, then they came through and dominated the second half. So this is definitely not a position Manitoba is new to. They were here today. I mean, amongst the rest of the tournament, they've been down a little, and they're ready to come back and bounce back. So 2-point deficit, no big deal for Team Manitoba, but credit to Dyno right now. Huge energy, really have your opponent on your heels. Your speed is just superior right now, especially in your handler core. Manitoba can't seem to lock down with any consistency the handler movement from Dyno.
Yeah, Kobe Ma is kind of that center pivot on the turn, and he had support there from Ben Jang as well as Miles Wong, so they were able to work. And when it looks the best, it's when they're moving it laterally and they're hitting that front cone. Disc now in the middle. Let's see if Team Manitoba can make the comeback here. In the hands of Venkatesamy. Venkatesamy looking upfield, and just a little bit out of bounds there. Huge diving block there from number 55, Andrew Van Den Dryzen, as he is getting himself involved in the game with a huge bid. Van Den Dryzen now to pick up and tap it in. Looking upfield, goes into the backfield, instead opts for the upfield. Doesn't want the huck, instead spins it into the middle. Now in the hands of number 71, Zach Wong. Zach Wong wants a huck. Instead, he thinks second of it, goes to the far side. This is Cochran. Cochran now with the disc on the far sideline. Looking to the backfield, he's going to go to Wong. Wong diving to secure that one. Has an upfield throw, connects with his target there, and immediately wants it back. This is DeBeer with it. DeBeer shoots upfield, connects as a pick called. Xia there, getting the under, and this is going to go back. Yuchen Xia coming out of the stack. Venkatesamy calling the pick called. No contest. It's going to be back in the hands of Aiden DeBeer. DeBeer calls a timeout. Looks like Dyno calling a timeout is going to come in on stalling 3 out of that. And Clay, this Dyno team has just come out a little bit more prepared. It seems like this Team Manitoba offense is just not prepared to play down the middle of the field, and they're shooting it out to the wings, which is proving to be difficult. We've talked a lot about the crosswind, the sort of up-down crosswind that we've dealt with all tournament here, kind of coming back towards the camera a little bit. And so when teams get the disc stuck on this side, close to the camera, and they're trying to hit shots up the open side down here, it's quite difficult to connect those. The teams that have had the most success are able to center the disc and play on the high side close to the bleachers.
And especially in these offenses they're running, like Manitoba showing us that they're typically a horizontal or sometimes a vertical, but you need to have about half or 3/4 of the field where you want to hit your receiver, right? In vertical lanes wise, you don't want to take lines, draw them vertically down your field into these little chunks, and then play on only 1/6 of it. Really skinny area to make those connections. And yeah, when you have the wind pushing the disc here, I mean, that 1/6 goes down to like 1/8, right? Because the wind is just going to push everything to the sideline. So I like this timeout, by the way. Dyno recognizing that they're not seeing the offensive looks they want. Defense was already in position anyway, so they're not really losing anything by taking this timeout.
Aiden DeBeer here, covered by Miles Rachura in the backfield. Sort of a split stack spread offense here from this Dyno squad as this D-line looks to cash in their second straight break. DeBeer shoots the far side and just a little too much zip on it. Looks like there was a contested stall, but it's going to stay as a turnover as Miles Raychura walks over to pick it up. Over to the close sideline here. Marshall shoots directly up to Van Contessamy. This is one of those situations where they want to get it off field. And this is Marshall now. Staring up line. Instead, going to the backfield. Layout grabbed there by Neufeld. Good composure to make sure they got that one. And again, Neufeld looks like he wants to get it out to that break side. Miles Raychura with the disc now. Holding it in his offhand. Little snappy backhand around. Contained there nicely by Max Hawes as he keeps his feet in. Howes the now Raychura in the backfield. Raychura gets it, hits the swing immediately. A diving defender isn't close enough. Instead, Van Contessamy goes up line and will cash in there. Ryan Marshall for Team Manitoba's first hold of the game. And again, Clay, sounds like a broken record, but as they move the disc laterally, they open up the defense and they were able to expose the give-go there with Van Contessamy and Marshall.
And not only that, but Van Contesamy's ability to throw that kind of buttery flick break up the line. Perfect placement there, and with no check, he can take it. With no check on his receiver, that is, he can take his time, get the disc where he wants. He's not trying to punch it into that small pocket.
And it was a big bid by the defender, and sometimes you have to decide, am I going to get this? Because when he went for that big, it was obviously close, but then it exposed him, especially around the end zone. It just left him in the dust, and then they played 2-on-1 the rest of the way up the field. Yeah,
it's hard. I like to say to players, you need to know when to pull the chute when you've committed to something. And if you realize this isn't going to work and I need to go back. But, I wouldn't tell that last bidding player that he should have. That was like fingertips. That was very, very close and a great bid. Sometimes we see teammates able to back them up and do a switch, but there it just happened so quickly. Yeah, he was just out of luck, and his check was open at that point.
So, Clay, this Dyno offense, we barely got to talk about them in the first point because they had the disc in the back of the end zone before you could even say boo. But it really is stapled by the center handling of Griffin McCullough, and he almost always looks upfield for Rex Ewan coming out of that side stack cyclone situation. Kai O'Donnell also downfield as a threatening handler, and, of course, number 4, Ryan Chen as well. He's got 7 goals on the tournament. Kai O'Donnell has 8. Rex Ewan is a sort of a balanced 5-5 prior to that first point. So this is a balanced scoring unit with a lot of attacking weapons. Let's see what they can do on this next offensive point. Jang flips it in the middle. This is McCullough. Well, horizontal set. They're going to run a tree play out to the wing. Just sort of a 2 clearance, and it's immediately, like we said, it's going to be O'Donnell and Ewan hooking up. And now it's Chen to the goal, and O'Donnell with the spot. Chen climbs up and grabs it, and another absolutely clinical offensive point there, Clay. They're just a little bit too much to handle in the lane. Tons of speed.
O'Donnell particularly, it was tons of speed. He ran from the 3rd or 4th lane on our side of the field all the way to the 1st. It was just a foot race. And then finding Jang in the end zone, once again, Jang just going deep in another foot race. So how Manitoba's defense is going to respond to the speed right now needs to be the topic on their team's sideline with the coaches, because it's difficult to tell how if they're making a difference out there right now. I mean, Dyno is just running past them. The score is 4-1
3-1
now. 3-1, excuse me. And it sounds like we're taking a water break just thanks to the heat. It has picked up 32 degrees last time I checked. And the turf likes to act like a convection oven here. It just comes right back up at us. So it's very hot here. Water breaks are 45 seconds, by the way.
Yeah, and yesterday they were running during the hottest times of the day. They were running water breaks when the team first reaches 3, 6, 9, and 12, as opposed to when it's a little bit cooler, they're running it on the 4,
there you go.
4, 8, 12, and game over. I want to draw attention to the cutting sequence there. You saw Rex Ewan come out. They ran that sort of horizontal with 2 clearing, Rex Ewan across, and then the 2 continuing to clearing, and O'Donnell coming from the far sideline across to fill that space. The throw that Rex Ewan threw up to O'Donnell was one that gained that extra yards, right? Sometimes I feel that the cutters, especially as they come under and grab the disc, that their next throw is just sort of like, what can I do to get it up a little bit? right? But he took his time, and O'Donnell had so much time and space that he was able to throw him up for an extra 15, 20 yards in that one. And that's what really like makes it difficult for downfield defense. Because then after that, it's a one-on-one down deep. And there's just so much space out there, so much real estate for the Manitoba D to have to try.
Yeah, rather than the defense just having to clamp and get in the way, right?
Dyno D pulls it. Huge hanging pull here. Neufeld underneath to accept it. Looks like it's going to drift out of bounds. It's going to be in the hands of Miles Raychura up at the brick mark.
Raychura has just been an absolute anchor for Manitoba's handler offense. Always get the disc, really solid decision making. I am noticing something, Kev, and that is Peterson, who has had a wonderful semifinal, has not been on the field when typically with the staff I'm seeing out there right now, he would be out there. Perhaps taking a rest from a few turnovers earlier.
Resets it to Miles Raychura. Oh, beautiful little break force shot there to Man. Man goes to Venkatesami. A bidding defender flies past him. Raychura offering in the backfield. Instead, they opt now to find Raychura in the middle. Quick little give-go. Nice motion there. And an immediate shot to Venkatesami, and it's in and out of the hands. He was right there, and it was a nice shot by Hunter Weeb. Found him in the back corner, but just maybe had a little bit too much pepper on it, and Venkatesami never got his body fully behind it, and he was caught trying to make that pancake catch outstretched in front of his body there.
You hate to see it after such a well-oiled offense to get the disc all the way down in the end zone. A lot more speed, a lot more movement coming out of Manitoba on that possession.
Kobe Ma now immediately hucks deep, has his receiver in the area. It's Venkatesami on defense. Two people in the area, and a great effort there. Looks like there's a little bit of a collision. Tough to say if that happened as the disc sailed over all three parties. I'll get you the name of that Dyno offender.
I believe that was O'Donnell. Number 9. Number 9? Number 10.
Looks like it's number 19, Hunter Cochran.
Oh, okay.
So he exploded to try to make a play on that. Looks like he's all right, and they're going to talk it out. Might be a foul call. Uncertain at this juncture. There was certainly contact as all three parties came down. You saw Miles Raychura try to make a late play on it as Venkatesami and Cochran were both bidding for it. It sailed over all parties, but it's tough to say when the contact happened.
The observer group having a quick meeting to make sure they're all on the same page. They're going to ask Cochran how he feels about that. He's calling foul.
Clay, this is the sort of upwind, sort of cross upwind attacking end zone, I would call it. Kobe Ma just picked the disc up and absolutely unleashed to his tall receiver. Obviously, there's something to just trying to get the disc all the way down there.
Kev, I just saw a yellow card come out for a dangerous play. I wasn't sure if that was for Raychura or Siddiqui, but this was something that Manitoba actually experienced earlier in the tournament. This is not the first time where that sort of dangerous defensive play and not taking care for the person already in the air has happened with them. That doesn't mean they're going for it, but not the first time we've seen that come out against Manitoba.
Disc in the hand of Miles Wong now. He goes upfield to Ma, a little bit of contact, and now Ma goes right back to Wong. Wong on the doorstep, see if he can fit something in that upline. Instead goes back to Ma in the middle. Ma immediately swings it around. Colin Wu and flips it for the goal. That is 00 Joshua Falk cashing in. And again, this D-line for Dyno, especially when they get their handlers together, moving the disc side to side and have a perfect opportunity to hit that front cone.
Dyno not afraid to play through contact. Not trying to say that's how you should do it. Not trying to say it's always, that's what you should do is always play through contact. But the Dyno player is doing the smart thing here, saying, unless I'm really hindered, I'm going to play through. I'm going to push through. And with using that speed and that tenacity through that contact, they're actually getting some results here. Manitoba not looking dejected as of right now. Most handlers you see coming off the line, holding up their hands, looking for eye contact from their teammates to stay in the game. But Dyno is starting to run away this one, and we haven't seen much of an answer.
Yeah,
from
the
Manitoba.
only team that pushed Dyno to the brink was Origine, who took them down in the crossovers. That being said, that game had very little implication on the actual finishing placement in the bracket. It was the 1-2. So either way you cut it, you were going to have, a matchup, a favorable matchup. That being said, Origine got spit out onto the side of the original number 1 seed and the repeating champions, Team Manitoba here. So definitely sort of more of a favorable draw for the team that actually lost that game. And Dyno, with the exception of that game against Origine where they lost it on Universe, they haven't been challenged, and they've actually been showing that they are the dominant team at this tournament. It looks like there's a timeout being called
by Manitoba. Perhaps just a chance to talk to the team about some adjustments. You see the coaching staff out there talking to everybody. I see Peterson back out on the line. I want to see him take over like he did in the semi this morning. He played so well, beating his checks to the open space. That speed has been our broken record line of this game, Kev. Just speed from Dyno. And I'm seeing some very fast players out there for Manitoba right now, but Peterson, I want to see pick it up and put that speed on his back for his team now that he's back out there.
Dyno leading this Junior Open final 4-1 over Team Manitoba. Manitoba primarily from Winnipeg, and this Dyno team from Vancouver, BC. And it's not uncommon to see Winnipeg, Toronto, and Vancouver being sort of the top ultimate producing teams in the Junior Open division. If you look back in time, you've seen many Team Manitobas win. And right now we see that big flick pull coming from Dyno as it drifts out of bounds. Kobe Ma has been bombing that forehand pull all week. This time it just didn't quite work out.
Kind of jealous, though.
Miles Rachura with the disc now. Looking like they're running just a little split stack set play there as they can get it out to the far sideline. And they run the continuation. They're looking for Nurin. And instead they go to Mann. Daniel Mann looks upfield. Wants to see if he can see something upline. And he's going to get it from Rachura, who runs into traffic, and that's knocked away. Good defense there by the Dyno upline D, and immediately squirrels deep. Not rewarded as Ma brings it up to where it went out of bounds.
It looks like Bowman and Rachura went to the same place for that dump, and when you throw into traffic of 4 people rather than a one-on-one,
Ma
much
looks
harder to
upfield.
complete.
Looks for his options, goes into the backfield. Chien right now with the disc. Back to Ma. Ooh, a little bit of a contact upfield. Looks like there is a call. That was Miles Wong in a little bit of a contact situation there with Boehm.
Easily resolved. Shake hands quickly.
Ma now covered by Rachura. Ma looking upfield. Perfectly connects there. It's Colin Wu. Wu looking upfield to Wong. Instead goes backfield to Ma. Kobe Ma, the anchor of this D-line offense. Kind of a deep horizontal with no handler support. And again, when we see these teams get into trouble is they have absolutely no one to throw a bail to, so they're forced having to stuff it upfield. Miles Rachura immediately picks up, wants something deep, instead finds the easy release valve in Daniel Mann. Daniel Mann back to Rachura. Has a swing option, opts not. Flips it back. This is Cooper pull it. Pull it up to Mann. Mann, this is Peterson. Travel called on Mann.
I would agree with that. It looked like he had a little bit of a catch. I mean, I'm on the other side of the field here, so obviously best perspective. But it did look like he had a little bit of a skip on that throw.
Yeah, and sometimes you just feel like you're going to get rid of it a touch earlier, and so your motion is already planning. But that time it's just a travel called on Daniel Mann. It just felt like his check, who just felt like he had dragged that Falk on the call. Peterson with the separation upfield. So we see this Manitoba offense try to manufacture a goal here. Looks like the travel is confirmed. It's going to go back into the hands of Daniel Mann. Mann with Rachura set up in the backfield. Disc in the hands here of Pollitt. Now to Rachura. Rachura Many cuts, just a few too many there as Daniel Mann went both directions and kind of tricked his thrower there. Ma immediately picks up and looks deep. Instead, looking for an under now. Hits Wong and through the hands, but Wong collects it as he tracked that down and never gave up. Miles Wong now looking upfield, goes to the far side. That one's going to be a big time grab as he climbs the ladder. Colin Wu gets up. And he immediately looks upfield for Ma. Ma layout grab. 3 sensational grabs in a row by this Dyno D-line. As they look upfield, looks like there's going to be a pick as Cochran gets open on the under.
Giving us a show here, Kev. 2 errors. It was swallowed up by just some big athleticism, some speed, some elevation, and then a layout to boot to keep that alive.
Kobe Ma now has the disc. Covered by Man. Ma looking upfield. Oh, a shake and bake in the backfield by Ryan Sheehan. Sheehan wants Ma now. Instead, shut down in the upfield by Man. Now he's got something up line. Ma looking upfield. Has Falk. Instead, goes across field. Nice hands there. It's Wong. Wong to Ma. Back to Wong. And another connection for this Dyno D-line as they continue to roll in this first half. They lead 5-1.
Dyno so comfortable, even on those edges of the field, just to work that up the line cut. It keeps working. It keeps working. I don't know what else Manitoba can do. We could maybe see a bracket where they decide to stand 2 to 3 people in front of that thrower, turn around, and have someone watch out for any over the tops while the others really do rolls and switches for that up the line cut. Very easy to say as my 38-year-old, hurting knees self here, saying all you have to do is, out muscle and think faster than that player who's just been leaving a trail of fire behind him cutting. But the fact remains, Manitoba needs to find a way to stop that. And as long as they can't, Dyno will keep scoring at will with that strategy.
Yeah, Manitoba hasn't found an answer against this D-line offense that likes to work the handler small ball in the backfield, right? You see Miles Wong, you see Kobe Ma, and you see Colin Wu all working the top of the field, right? And it's really just trying to keep it isolated. You see the back 3 in the stack, spread back, a little more space, and they're running everything through their top 3. And again, like you said, when run well, there's not a lot of answers, right? You can switch, you can roll, you can try to protect, but at the end of the day, if the throwing choices are smart and it's nice disciplined cutting, there's just not much you can do. So this offensive unit for Manitoba has to work in a clean one and get their D-line out there and see if they can crack a break. Big rip there. Collected in the backfield and centered to Neufeld. A little bit of new personnel here on the line. Now it's Pullett with the disc. Looks like there's just a pick called at the front of the stack.
That might actually have been to Pullett because it is Pollett's check calling it, I believe. So Pullett asking for Linda Kudo's opinion. She agrees that it was a pick call and asks him to go back.
That's Luke Wilkie with the call. Zach Wong with the pick call. Trying to get around Cassius McLaren at the front of the stack to cover Cooper Pullett. Looks like there's also sort of a double call as there's a foul upfield. It looks like the disc will be coming in on the first stall. Pullett immediately out to the flats. Gets it. Pullett looking upfield and hucks immediately to Ben Kantesimi, who's got time and space, goes up big and gets it on the second effort. What a grab that is from Ben Kantesimi, who goes up strong. Couldn't come down with the first one, but collected it and cashed in. And that might be the play that this Manitoba team needs, Clay.
Absolutely needed it. Ben Kantesimi wanted that one back earlier, one bouncing off his hands when he was the same corner. And this time making that second effort to ensure he reels that in. Kev, it was also interesting. Pullett had that disc in this position right here next to our table at about the brick mark. Let's say 50 yards away from where the disc ended up. And I could hear the coaching staff of Manitoba just going, yep, to Van Kantesimi striking, perhaps realizing that they need to punch a few in here quickly to keep their team in this game, need to take some shots and make some plays. So the coaching staff hoping to fire up their team with some magic here.
Yeah, and Ezreal then contests me, adding to his team-leading 14 goals coming into this tournament with a goal there, and it couldn't have come at a better time, Clay, as this Manitoba team was bleeding, and here they slapped a Band-Aid on it, but it's going to come down to this Manitoba D-line, and can they get a stop? Because so far, Dyno's offense has looked basically as pure as it gets, so we'll have to find out here as Manitoba is pulling. And when you get to this juncture in the tournament, it's full send all the way to the very end. So we'll have to see if they can make it happen. Dyno leads 5-2, receiving this pull left to right on our screen.
Wind has shifted, kind of heading into our faces. So that's from the grandstands towards the camera right now. Straight shot, crosswind.
Pull from Team Manitoba is up. It's going to drift down. Center to McCullough. Split stack formation, trying to isolate O'Donnell and Ewan. A little bit of a zone to take them out of their play. O'Donnell now has a bit of time and space on this side, trying to go there with Ben Jang. Instead, it's McCullough in the middle. McCullough goes to the far side. It's Ma. Sorry, this is Chen. Chen and Ben Jang play pass here. O'Donnell trying to find a little spot. Instead, it's to Rex Ewan. Rex Ewan, he looks for O'Donnell. Safely recycles the disc back into the hands of Ben Jang. Jang to Chen, back to Jang. A little bit of contact there. No contest. Out to McCullough. McCullough looks upfield. Recycling the disc safely into the hands of Ryan Chen. Battling against this zone, this Dyno offense is now having to connect more passes than their first few points combined. A little bit of contact there as Ryan Chen came over the top. Burrell on the mark. Disc on the far sideline now in the hands of Yu Lim. Oh, nice spot there. McCullough finds O'Donnell, and now it's a jailbreak situation. Ewan has it now. Back to Chen. Back to Ben Jang. Back to Chen. Just simple give-go ultimate here as Chen and Jang make it happen. Continue to run it, and a nice out to space to McCullough. He keeps his feet in, and this Dyno offense just looks like they can do both. If they get a person-on-person offense, they run their big vertical cuts. If they get the zone, they just run the give-goes. Another well-executed offense by Dyno.
I would say, though, while Dyno is showing us they can do both, a lot more opportunities for Manitoba that time to make a defensive play. They were close with quite a few of them. It did take Dyno quite a while to find any holes. They made really good decisions, though. So at the end, it didn't really matter, but definitely felt like Manitoba there making an adjustment to see what they can conjure defensively. And that seemed to be at least on the right track, Kevin.
Yeah. I don't mind the zone look to get a change of pace there, as this offense from Dyno has been just hitting the big open lanes when it's person-on-person coverage. So I don't mind flashing a zone there. I'm worried that they almost kept it on too long, as they were able to corral the first set play for sure. They were able to get Dyno working side to side, losing a few yards, and trying to make it up. But it was just eventually it was too much, and they were able to hit that through shot to O'Donnell. O'Donnell found Ewan, and then they were off to the races. And once they melted out into match D, it was just the Chen and Jang show, as Benjamin Jang and Ryan Chen were just playing give-go, small ball, and again, just making that space in that area.
Which it has been all game, right? It's almost like you could tell, if you're a Dyno coach right now, you could likely tell your team, hey, if they zone us again, keep the disc, value it, let's work it up. And you know what? When we get it up, when we find those holes and they melt, we're just going to do what we've done all game to score and use that quick small ball handler core and others rotating into those handler spots to get it done. This, the score 6-2. So we just did have another water break, 45 seconds long, which is why the poll's taking a little while.
And it may be a situation, Clay, where this Manitoba squad flashes a zone or a poach junk look for the first 3 or 4 passes and then melts out to match D, and just trying to catch them unaware and try to force them to all of a sudden start from scratch around midfield or around the opposing brick. And instead of having them have to melt out to person on person, like right by the goal, where Dyno shows that they can just run the give goes. Right. Huge pull from Dyno as this one drifts all the way into the back of the end zone. It's going to be centered to Neufeld. Neufeld now with it. Looking upfield, has Peterson wide open, but instead hangs it up. A big jumping grab, and he just can't quite bring it down as he had 2 or 3 chances at that one. That was Eric Wang just reaching high to try to make the play on that one. Picked up here, Kobe Ma, the center pivot, hits Miles Wong. These two have been just running the show for this offense with Colin Wu, who comes off the top. Wu looking upfield. Instead, goes back to Ma. Nice little low release back in there. Kobe Ma in the center of the field. Trying to manipulate. Hits Wu. Wu. Again, too many options almost out of that stack. And now it's a little turn into the corner and just out of bounds. They ran out, and it was the one thing that they have been doing so well in other points, Clay, is that failed them there, is they had too many options coming out of the stack instead of isolating the top 3.
Yeah, and then running out of time.
Neufeld taps it in, goes into the middle. It's Ray Chura. Miles Ray Chura playing against a simple person-on-person D. Kind of a lazy horizontal here. Now it's Cale Peterson getting involved. Peterson flips it into the backfield. That's Daniel Mann. Mann looks up to Howes. Howes going high release there to Ven Contestami, who just couldn't quite keep his feet in. You could tell there, Clay, he was cognizant of the line, but it was just his momentum was pushing him too far out as he dragged that back foot, but it was right on the line instead of inside the line.
Yeah, just touching the blue line there.
Ma now immediately shoots to Wong. Wong fires deep to Cochran. Big man matchup here with Neufeld. Cochran just goes up a little early and can't connect with it. Tough to see if he was dealing with the back line there. It kind of looks like he wasn't. Could have potentially sealed and ran that one out, but went up big and couldn't bring it in.
Neufeld's pressure being there right away caused Cochran to go up early when he was playing against Neufeld rather than putting him in a self where he could elevate and get the disc at its apex.
Now it's Mann with Rachel in the bail position. Now it's Howes looking upfield. Nice cutting pressure there. Goes over the top. Ven Contestami lays out. Said it's a catch block here right close to the camera. Joshua Falk goes up big. Ma immediately collects it. Looks like there's a pick called. Miles Rachura calling it pick as the 2 players are rushing through that zone. Looks like it's going to stay in the hands of Kobe Ma with Rachura on the mark. Ma now into the backfield. Hits Wong. Wong, far side again, just a little too much. This time Cochran brings it in. And he's right on the line. Cochran covered by Neufeld and flips it and secured. And it's a goal. Cochran there making up for his earlier blunders. He elevated for that one and right by the front cone that was. And this Dyno D-line continues to be a major storyline at this tournament as they are very clinical on offense and have just a bunch of skill and a bunch of big guys.
Yeah, really the athletic plays are coming through for them right now, both on offense and defense. There we're seeing a defensive catch block, always huge. But also on offense, they're coming up more often than not. They're winning the 50-50 kind of second effort or sky ball throws. It's just going their way, using their athleticism to win those toss-ups. Kev, our score now have 7-2, and we are just shy of 45 minutes, so half will be taken at 8 regardless.
Clay, right now, as I'm taking sort of the full big picture of this game, it's Dyno clearly sort of was ready for the first half of this game, right? I'm seeing that the preparation was there right from the get-go. Looking just back even just 45 minutes to that first offensive point, they took O out of the flip and just immediately marched down. 4 passes and a goal. And there's nothing like getting your D-line out there, like a blink of an eye with a 1-0 lead, right? And as this group was prepared to play this game, it shows on the other side that Manitoba just looked a little shell-shocked at the start, right? They've strung together a couple good points of ultimate, but they haven't been able to get into a rhythm at all, and that's what this offensive firepower of Dyno is able to do to a team.
Same personnel on offense for Manitoba.
Big pull here from the Dyno D, another bomb centered in the hands of Pollitt. Cooper Pollitt now surveys the field, has Peterson through the zone. Nice spot there as Peterson runs a little dishy give-go with Marshall. Peterson shoots it around to Pollitt. Pollitt has a target through the zone. That's a nice spot there. Siddiqui goes into the backfield. It's Boehm. Boehm to Siddiqui and knocked away there. Smart defense and an immediate fast break. Now it's out to the close sideline. Aiden DeBeer hits Zach Wong. Zach Wong to Van Den Dryzen. Van Den Dryzen now all the way to the far side and an immediate shot to the end zone, and that's going to work. Number 37, Eli Bryan finds Yu Chen Chai, and this is a one-sided first half of Ultimate Clay as Dyno takes half 8-2.
The one-sided plays, Van Der Dryson coming through, cutting that angle on his check and coming through with another big layout block. It's just the hunger shown from Dyno right now, the hair trigger that they need to make these plays. You know, I've heard from the sideline both teams saying you got to work for it, and Dyno is doing the work.
The score at half, Dyno leads 8-2 over Manitoba. We'll take a short break and bring you the second half of this Junior Open Canadian Ultimate Championship final match. Championships, live from Surrey, British Columbia. We're at the Newton Athletic Park. I'm Kevin Underhill, joined by Clay Howlett in the booth. And Clay, the story of the first half, it's all Dyno. Their offense has been clicking. They've made exceptional defensive plays, but more than anything, they've just been clinical in scoring in the end zone, and that's just been the story so far.
Yeah, they're really, really comfortable playing a give-go plan with their handlers. They're very good at selling that they're going to come back or making scoop cuts so that they open up the line cut, and they just seem to get it over and over again. Their change of direction is just so explosive, and it's really working for them this game.
And on the other side, the second half, you can't win a game in the first half of Ultimate. So although it's one-sided right now, we'll see if this cardiac kids from Manitoba who have been coming back all weekend to win Ultimate games, see if they can do it here. We see Ray Chura immediately with the disc, looking upfield, sees Man. Man resets it to Pollitt. Pollitt goes upfield to Venkatesamy. Venkatesamy shrugs off his dump, now goes back to Pollitt. Pollitt looks upfield to Man. Instead, it's Venkatesamy. They're running sort of a three-person dominator set here. Now they get a little more engagement out of the stack. Shot to Neufeld. Make sure with two hands. Neufeld looks upfield. Instead, likes Man. Man secures that with two hands. Can't be too sure in the wind. And speaking of which, he shoots deep to Peterson, but it's just too much edge, and it bounces, and it was into double coverage. Not meant to be on that hook.
With the edge the way it was, the disc towards us, kind of the edge down towards us, and the other edge up towards the grandstands, the wind is coming towards us, so throwing a blade like that, the wind is just going to push it laterally towards your screen here, and really hard to read, really hard to change direction to get under that.
Pollitt now covering Ma. Kobe Ma immediately looking upfield. Instead, resets the disc here. It's Falk to Ma. Ma with no real options. Now sees an upfield cutting option. Well secured there. That's Joshua Falk on the reception. He looks upfield to Cochran. Cochran now staring into the flick lane. Resets the disc back to Ma. Kobe Ma, the center pivot of this defensive. Quick cut there. Instead has the bail. It's Colin Wu out to the far side. This is Chien. Chien back to Ma. Ma looks off sort of a lazy cut there. Miles Wong drifting into the backfield. Now he's going to use him. Wong gets open. Wants Ma instead. Goes to the far side. And that one's going to hang, but nice grab there. Colin Wu, and he immediately hucks it deep. Is that going to stay up? Huge layout grab by Joshua Falk as he laid out, kept his feet in. Excellent grab there. Immediately wants something in the backfield. Wong providing in the backfield now. Looking for Ma. It's Wong and Ma. We've said those two names a lot in the backfield. And Ma shoots crossfield to Cochran, who goes up big. Gets a little bit of contact, but makes it count. And an immediate break for this Dyno defense. Incredible work there as Ma shooting his shot across the field to the big dog, Hunter Cochran.
Hunter Cochran using that physicality very, very well. And Kevin, I just want to say, I'm going to pretend I have my crystal ball, go into the future a little bit here and later. No matter the result of this game, when Dyno is in the same room together and they're all watching the replay of this game and they're replaying this point, Colin Wu, you better go give Joshua Falk a hug. You stand up and you hug him right now, because Falk made a massive layout to pick up that low, lasery huck, keeping that point alive for Dyno. And that's what they've done this game. That physicality, that explosiveness. Any other team we've seen this weekend, that's a turnover.
Well, Clay, we've talked about big-time plays sometimes being the difference maker in games, you know? We've seen boring offense and boring D have its benefits overall, but sometimes your playmakers have to make plays, and you see two in about 30 seconds there. First, you see Falk with a huge layout grab, keeping his feet in, then they recycle the disc a little, and then Ma shoots to the goal, and Hunter Cochran just sort of secured his spot.
Oh, sorry, Kev, you've hit commit, Hunter Cochran.
Yes, you've hit commit, Hunter Cochran. Stands his ground, goes up big, and makes the grab. Big-time players making big-time plays, and sometimes that's what happens if you want to win a gold medal. This pull is going to go all the way to the back line. Received there, and now it's number 19, Ryan Marshall, seeing what he can manufacture through the zone. Disc in the hands of Minish now. Connor Minish back to Marshall. Oh, Marshall and Minish running a little nice give-go up this open side. finds a pocket through the middle, and it's knocked away there. Great defense. That's number 5, 55, Andrew Van Den Dryzen. It's his second block in as many points as he's been on. Excellent work there as Manitoba just couldn't get the disc out of their own half. Van Den Dryzen now looking upfield. Oh, double cut into traffic. Well received there. This is Zach Wong right on the goal line. Zach Wong almost too many options right at the front. And he finally connects with the one he wants. And that's number 17, Andrew Tu Wong with the grab. Ate a little bit of contact, but it doesn't matter, and it's going to count as a goal. And the Dyno sideline that continues to be fired up, continues to deliver the energy. They just are accelerating through this game. They now lead 10-2. And Clay, what can Manitoba do to stop the bleeding here?
Well, I would throw something a little bit different, probably a 4-handler dominator. See if you can play the Dynos game against them right now. Manitoba has the personnel for a lot of quick movement. Dyno is generating the turnovers on the unders right now. They are just showing such explosiveness that on these 8 to 10 to 12-yard passes, they are just coming through and getting huge blocks. Maybe take that out of the equation. Put someone big like Neufeld in the back, right? Get Peterson, Raichura, Howes, Van Contestamy to play a little tic-tac-toe, and perhaps that'll get things rolling. But the plan right now of just let's keep working it and we'll get it under, Dyno's just snacking on that right now.
Yeah, and to be fair, this Dyno squad has been throwing this sort of junk set, but they haven't really been tested deep yet, right? The very first throw of the game was a huck to Howes, which he brought down under duress, right? So they've actually shown that hasn't been common, but when they have hucked, they've had success, right? So this unit, they've got size, they've got speed, and they have the personnel. Raichura, Van Contestamy, Neufeld, Peterson, Polot. This team has the personnel to make it happen, but they're just getting a little impatient, right? And in that last one, you saw them, they ran actually a pretty good give-go to generate a little separation, get to the top of their goal, but then it was just that long underthrow into trouble that cost them. As we see that trademark flick pull from Kobe Ma, Neufeld collects immediately up to Howes. Maybe these are the personnel we're talking about here. Immediate cut there. Peterson receives that one, flips it to Raichura. Raichura facing this sort of saggy cup. Nice spot there from Van Contestamy. Van Contestamy looks back to Raichura. Raichura now surveying, not a lot of help around the disc, wants Peterson, instead chips one through to nobody. There was just no one home there as he tried to go for a little high release backhand. And now we see Kobe Ma pick the disc up. Howes on the mark. Ma with Chien in the backfield. Instead shoots upfield to Wong. Looks like there's going to be a travel called as he sort of stepped through, kind of jumped through on that one a little bit, and Howes calls the travel. Uncontested. Wong upfield, Chien in the backfield. Immediately to the middle, Chien. Chien hits Wong in the swing. Wong, a few options to the front cone. Instead, relaxes and hits Ma. Ma in the backfield. Connects with Colin Wu on the front cone. And it is another goal for this Dyno D-line. We sound like a broken record, but it really is the Kobe Ma show today.
Yeah. So Dyno did the offense that we've talked about at length. Again, it's really working for them. Manitoba there seeming to get a little frustrated in what I think was an FSU, kind of playing hard person defense on the handlers and really shutting them down and kind of getting sort of poachy in the middle of the field ish, but definitely that big slough in the middle is causing players to kind of look away from going there. And I think at that point, Raichura just ran out of time while he had the disc and had to get something going.
Yeah, this defensive look that Dyno has had over the last few points, Clay, it's a little more corral in the middle of the field, but when it gets over to the sideline, they do bring more people over there and they clamp down and cause the chaos. So we even saw that on this close sideline in the last point. And in this point, it was Raichura who got the disc right on the sideline, and there was 3 Dyno players right in his face and no real options.
You know what I love? Because this is the juniors division, is the focus, the presence of mind, the intelligence to be able to have a defense that sort of, breathes, right? Contracts and relaxes in the middle and contracts on the sideline to make that adjustment live in this division. I mean, that shows some really prime mental game, from this Dyno team.
Kobe Ma rips another forehand pull. This one hangs, comes down with a little bit of edge right to the front of the end zone. It's pull it. Pull it, staring down his options. Instead, chips a little upfield throw, grabbed and well done there by Ryan Marshall, who keeps his feet in bounds. Marshall has pull it in the backfield. Shoots right through the middle, well received there. Now it's man cutting through the middle. See if they get a little bit of momentum going here as it's out to Marshall. Marshall makes sure. He's looking upfield. Wants pull it in the backfield. Instead, chips to man. Man's been all over the field there. CC's number 60. Cassius McLaren striking deep, and he comes under, and there's a little bit of contact on that. No call. Dyno earns another turnover, and Kobe Ma, the man of the hour, strolls casually back to pick it up. Ma with the disc now, covered by Red Chura, calls a timeout. I don't mind that timeout call at all. He is in what we would call coffin corner in the business, and I think just taking a moment to settle his team. They just played a long-ish deep set there. Let's just get the batteries reset here, and I think that's a good call, mature call by Kobe Ma.
Yeah, and nor were you giving the defense any advantage there. They was basically already in position, so perhaps Manitoba could throw a junky set after they see how the offense lines up, but they were all pretty much in position anyway. So like you said, coffin corner, all right, let's refocus, take a break.
Well, and this is one thing we haven't seen yet from this Manitoba O-line. I know there's some different personnel mixed in. We see McLaren out there as well, but it is a lot of the same people, right, with Ray Chura and Pollitt and Man. Maybe they can run a junk look here, but between earlier in the game and now, they've had turnovers and they're just putting person on person, right? And they're having a tough time containing Chen, Colin Wu, and Ma. But maybe they can run a little junk look here because D-line offenses aren't always that accustomed to playing against zones. So even if it's for the first 3 passes, something passive just to contain would be something that I would advocate for in this situation if I was the coaching staff.
And I mean, you just look at the way Manitoba's setting up right now. They didn't have to set up before Dyno here, but they did. And immediately we saw them kind of throwing a junk look. So we do see a cup. Paul at mid with his back turned to the disc, just going to take anyone that comes underneath as Dyno sets up in a vertical here.
You see Ray Chura on the mark with man upfield. Pollitt playing midfield, and you've got McLaren and Venkatesamy. And in the backfield is Marshall, and an immediate huck, and it sails over the hands, and Manitoba did a good job earning that back, putting them in a bit of a tough spot, and Ma didn't really have any options and just ripped it deep.
I think maybe Dyno committed a little too hard to running their play there, Kev.
Immediately under Venkatesamy, great hands there with a bouncy disc in the wind, sharply thrown to the backfield to Marshall. Ray Chura. Ray Chura now to Pollitt. Pollitt looking for man, double cutting his man, and it just into triple coverage there. It's deflected away and made sure of by Cochran.
Well, team effort, high five on the D there. You do half, I'll do the other.
And that one, I think it's just man just has to the thrower there just has to relax a second. I think it's Pollitt. Just has to relax, use the offside of the field, right? It's difficult throwing it into the middle. Colin Wu gets up for a grab as we rejoin this point. Now it's Ryan Sheehan, back to Wu. To the far side. Now it's Colin Wu playing give-go with Sheehan against what looks to be a sort of a saggy zone coverage, and this immediately turns over. Looks like there's a foul on the throw.
So I hear the immediate response from Manitoba, it was out of his hands. So we'll see where this comes up. It's Marshall and arguing that foul was not legit. Sorry, Kev, go ahead.
Clay, you can see that this Manitoba team has committed to playing a little bit of a zone on the turn, and it's just restricting their upfield motion. There isn't as many options for Ma and Colin Wu and Cien to try to hit upfield, so they're caught just recycling the disc and not actually gaining anything out of it. So I think this is a smart play. We'll see how long they hold it. If it's just the first half of the field, see if they can generate another turn here. Now it's Wong with the disc. Wong flips it back to Ma. Ma asking for a little more from his upfield receivers. Sheehan. Around to Wu. Wu to Wong. Wong on his own goal line, seeing what he can generate. Hits Colin Wu. Colin Wu now. Running a little give-go with Ma. Ma now in the center of the field with it. little by little, this Dyno D-line is gaining yards.
Milk
Now
call
they've
for
broken
Manitoba.
through. Disc on the far sideline now. Now it's out to person on person. So you see Hunter Cochran grab it. And then, oh, nice cut there from Falk, but instead resets to Ma.
Pick call.
Kobe Ma always so deadly in this backfield, ready to get it, ready to distribute. Hunter Cochran with the disc. Covered by Noonan. Everett Noonan taps it in. Cochran looks for the backfield. Instead, he shoots upfield. And now it's shot again, and across the field, wide open, uncovered, is Lance Christoria. That's his first goal of the game, and Dyno continues to shine. This defensive unit, if you could pick an MVP, I might pick the whole D-line, especially because their offense has been so clinical as they threw about 25 passes getting out of that zone, and then it was tic-tac-toe and a huck to the goal.
Yeah, you love seeing that sort of confidence to make that many passes at the D-line rather than just shoot it deep and hope for the best. Once again, like just the maturity and the level of the Dyno D-line coming through as really a cut above most complimentary D-lines, we'll say, at this tournament, Kev. And although, I mean, once again, I love that defensive look from Manitoba. It was working. They got a turn off of it. That is one of the first turns where they forced Dyno to make a choice that was particularly unadvised and causing a turnover, right? So it's I almost want to say in hindsight, and I can do that because I have a microphone, that I wish Manitoba had decided to throw that kind of slough far earlier in the game rather than just realize it's going to work now. I would have liked to see them try some other things on defense to see what would stick, because this clearly is getting them somewhere.
We are taking a heat timeout here. As we talked to earlier, if you're just joining us, Dyno right now dismantling Manitoba 12-2 in this Junior Open final. And every time a team reaches a multiple of 3 points, so in this case 12, 3, 6, 9, 12, and then the end of the game, there is a heat break. So they've been instituting these. If you haven't heard us talk about these before, they've been instituting these all week long as the temperatures out here, especially on this turf, are climbing to the mid and even high 30s as far as the humidex and the heat is concerned. So it's been extremely hot for these athletes. So they've been instituting heat breaks every 3 points to just give them a chance to get some shade, get some water, get a snack, electrolytes, whatever they need to get back in the game and still feel safe. So as we see this offensive unit for Manitoba march out with a huge deficit ahead of them, and hats off to this squad. They've played well. They've played well to get to this moment. They just have not had their best game.
No, they haven't had their best game. We had some pretty early uncharacteristic drops from Manitoba from some of their better players, right? And that led to some pretty quick conversions for that lead of Dyno to start extending. And that momentum shift at the beginning has carried forward. And like I said earlier, the 50-50s, the big things you expect to be a turnover, Dyno is just winning those and coming up with the disc almost every time.
Miles Rachura now to get things going for Manitoba. Hits Peterson. This is Cale Peterson into the backfield. Immediately back to Peterson. Facing against just a person-on-person D. Venkatesamy now with the disc. Looking upfield, finds Man. Man now immediately has his target into traffic. Tough bid there and some contact as Ryan Einerson secured the disc and then ate a little bit of contact into his legs. Clay, you could see that one coming as an offside poach and just came kind of screaming across trying to make a play. But Einerson secured the grab, but definitely a little bit of contact from both Dyno defenders there.
Yeah, the observers coming together. It was from a side you couldn't see, kind of a blind side. I see observer Saint-Jacques reaching into his pocket for what I believe is a yellow card. So
now it looks like Yuchen Sia with the bid from the offside as Aiden DeBeer was covering Einerson. And looks like the disc will be tapped in after the card gets given out. Ray Chura now with the disc. Ray Chura looks upfield. Instead, wants something in the backfield, but has Man upfield and immediately hucks it deep. no target in the area, and just Dyno smothering their defensive looks. Just too much happening in the backfield as Friesen, Benkin Tessemy, and I believe that was also Ryan Einerson after dishing it, were all gathered around Raichura, just not enough space there.
No, and Raichura ran out of time thanks to smothering. Like you said, he just kind of ran out of room, and he had to get rid of it instead of getting stalled down.
Just tapped in and immediately hucked deep. Zach Wong on the receiving end. Two people in the area. Wong goes up hard. Felt like he took a bit of contact, and it's going to be immediately contested. I think they may talk about this one as both parties were jockeying to try to get inside there.
Kev, you know, it's interesting. I saw Anderson make contact. Wong swatted his arms away. There might have been a little other contact after that. I'm curious, once you start, what your take is, or what anyone's take is really, is if you start initiating that contact where it gets ticky-tacky and you're hitting at each other's elbows and hands, can there be a foul call after that contact? Who's right? Who's wrong in that situation?
Yeah,
I guess Glenn Ford will tell us.
Glenn Ford ruling that it was a foul. And yeah, Clay, I think in that scenario, the contact early before the throw or before the reception kind of looked fine. It looked like they were just sort of battling.
Yeah.
But I think it's the contact at the end right by the time when Wong was trying to catch the disc. I think that's the major contact that he indicated was a foul.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And now Wong shoots to the end zone. Into traffic, Raichura bidding. And Dyno cashes in again as they stream the field. Tough to see who made that catch. But Dyno absolutely feeling themselves now as their D-line offense just continues to punch in break after break after break, Clay.
Yeah, and Team Manitoba doing their best. Their hands are up. They're high-fiving each other. They're with their teammates, trying to keep their heads in the game. Good display of fortitude by Manitoba here, but this game is so far out of their reach right now.
Yeah, and it's
really hard to stay in it.
It's such a tough mental grind when you're on the when you're on the losing side of a blowout to try to keep performing at a consistent level, right? It feels like you have to do something special, but at the end of the day, you can only score one goal at a time. And although I wouldn't say I'm predicting a Team Manitoba comeback, there's a little fight left in them yet, but they have to treat this like a 1-point game and then a 1-point game and then a 1-point game. Force Dyno have to bring their O-line back out, right? That's the first step here.
And they're going to show us who they are. They obviously are not a team based on the story of this tournament that is going to give up. They're going to keep fighting right to the end, and they continue to do so.
Big, huge pull from this Dyno D-line. They've been doing it all day, and this one drifts out of bounds. Earlier today on this main showcase field, we got to see the Dyno women's team take down Wicked West in that gold medal final. Also a bit of a one-sided affair. Very impressive performance from that Dyno squad as they took down the Ottawa team in the gold medal. Disc now tapped in. Immediately shot up to Man. Man looking deep, a little bit edgy there and just out of the reach of his target. Trying to track down Brody Friesen deep, but couldn't make it work. Excuse me, that was Cruz Correa. Striking deep and just the shot from Man, just a little too much edge and beat down by the wind.
We've seen that that OI long under, constant turnover, Kev. It's been a really tough throw for these teams, but so tempting.
It is tempting. Oh, and a good upfield shot, just not connected there. Looking for Valentino Sabinin. Instead, it's Manitoba who quickly turns around. And an upfield throw and grabbed out of the air there. Well done, Cooper. Polette on the receiving end of that one, an emphatic spike. It feels like the pressure release valve was just released there, Clay, as Polette went upfield, made the grab, and Daniel Mann connected with him. Manitoba back on the board after a long drought. They now trail 13-3.
So we'll get to see Dyno's O-line, which has been exciting as they've been running a very different style of offense. Well, not very different, but a different style of offense than their D-line. I'm expecting a lot of speed, and they've got some big receivers that have just been winning foot races on the unders, on the lateral cuts, on the deep cuts. So I'm thinking if I had to put on my nice blue polo and be a Dyno coach right now, I would say score this point quick. Stuff down that energy that Manitoba just brought to the surface. Finish this point in 30 seconds, boys.
Yeah, if this Dyno offense can say to themselves, this is a 1-point game, this is a 1-point game, they're going to be the ones who have the advantage here, right? The second they feel like they just have a layup goal is a chance where they're going to probably have a turnover. So it's all about keeping focused, staying focused. And yeah, I mean, coming in after a long break is not actually that easy.
Kev, this point's about to begin, so I'm going to leave our viewers on a cliffhanger here, but we did hear about the bronze medal result. It was a universe point. Now I'll talk about it more after this point.
Stay with us. Manitoba to pull, Dyno to receive, up 13-3. There's the pull, hanging over midfield, over the brick, all the way to the end zone line, drifting back. That's going to be a nice pull that drops right at the end zone line. Griffin McCullough with the disc in the middle now. A little zone here, asking for a double team. Now it's in the backfield, Benjamin Jang. Jang swings it out to McCullough. McCullough looks upfield. Instead, recycles the disc back to Jang. Jang to Ryan Chen. Chen with it now. Goes in the middle. Jang, McCullough. 2 hands on that one. Secures. Nice floaty touch leader to Rex Ewan. Ewan and Jang go. Then a shot right up the middle. Jang, O'Donnell. Knocked away. Great defensive pressure there. And Manitoba gets their first turnover of the game. Looks like there was some heavy contact there.
Yeah,
Benjamin Jang and O'Donnell were running a little bit of a give-go, but that was a nice block there as number 8, Ryan Einerson, dove into the area and knocked it away.
Seemed like Einerson was already down, and then the Dyno player landed on top of him, which...
Yeah, it looked like most of the contact was well after the play had been turned over.
But a funny landing nonetheless. So I guess while we wait for this to resolve, Kev, our bronze medal result was, our game was Ignite versus Vortex in the Junior Open bronze medal game. Ignite took it on Universe, but get this.
I'm listening.
There was an observer call that went in Vortex's favor. And I've been told that Ignite used photo evidence to overturn that observer's call for the win. So that will be a spicy story.
And I'll be happy to get a first-hand story from someone who is involved in that play later. But yeah, I mean, Ignite and Vortex had already battled in pool play. Those teams, it felt like they were the clear number 2, 3. This sort of top 5, Manitoba, Dyno, Vortex, Ignite, and Origine had kind of set themselves as a class above the next group. And it really felt like it could have been anyone in those like medal rounds, in the knockout rounds. It's a shame that they all couldn't be playing for a medal, but sounds like there is a really exciting Ottawa bronze. And that means the Ottawa team's coming second in the women's division and third in the men's division.
Hardware all around.
A good showing from the Ottawa contingent. Looks like the disc will be sent back on a foul contest. It's going to be in the hands of O'Donnell here. And looks like number 2, Benjamin Jang, was all right, but he did take an injury sub. Kai O'Donnell taps it in, immediately looks upfield. Griffin McCullough secures the disc, and into the end zone he goes. And Dyno, a little anticlimactically there, cashes in on their 14th goal of the game. That was Kaido Squants who cashed in that goal, his first goal of the game. And weirdly enough, it's kind of a quiet game from this Dyno O. They've looked very good when they've been out there, but, you know, none of the names have really had to stand out because it's been all on the defensive side. It's been Kobe Ma, Ryan Chen, and that's been the unit with Colin Wu out there as well.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, Squants, last time we had the privilege of calling the game, was all over. He was all over our stat sheets, making a big difference in the game. Unders, outs, just goals, assists. But now we've barely seen him. I think that's his first time on the sheet, and I think that's to no fault of his own. Rather, it's thanks to the, I'm going to take your word, suffocating Dyno defense this game.
Yeah, and Clay, as someone who has played on offensive units throughout my career, I welcome the games where our D are absolutely rolling, you know? And it's funny happening in a final, not that common, but when it does, I mean, you just have to be thinking about your job, what you have to do. This Dyno offense has just been making sure they're doing their job on the few points that they've had to be out there in this game.
D-line always wants to go back out. Doesn't matter how long they've been playing. Doesn't matter about the heat. Doesn't matter if they're tired. They always want to go back out there.
Big pull from this Dyno squad as that fires all the way into the end zone. Well shot there. That was Rex Ewan crossing over for this point. 14-3 Dyno leads. Potential game point. This is Howes with the disc. Howes immediately under. Pull it with a great grab. Pull it. Reaches into his bag and hucks it deep. That's Venkatesamy eating a little bit of contact and immediately calls a foul. Great bid in the backside there by Howes. And that's one of those ones where the feet get tangled up and Venkatesamy went just crashing to the ground. Clay, it's tough to say when and where the contact took place.
It is. I think often we defer to the player who was contacted in front of the pair. In that case, Venkatesamy did have his ankles contacted from behind. There's no way he could have. He's on offense and he didn't know where his check was. So
it looks like Benjamin Jang is going to go put the mark on Venkatesamy. Observer rules fouls. We've got Howes, who was trailing the play.
Foul, no contest.
Cornelson as well upfield here. Flips it back. Cornelson now. Cornelson looking. Venkatesamy blocking that is Benjamin Jang. And now we have a chance to see if this unit can close it out. There's a lot of offensive components on, and this one's hucked deep to Kai O'Donnell. Can he keep his feet in? Dives from inbounds, touches the disc, but couldn't quite secure it. And now this offense for Manitoba will take over. Oh, it looks like he actually didn't leave from inbounds as he was dragging his feet.
Yeah, I think he made contact out of bounds first before touching the disc.
And now it's Ray Chura to tap it in with Kobe Ma on him. Immediately shoots upfield. Huge defensive play there. That is number 4, Ryan Chen. He's been doing it all day, and there he delivers again. Griff McCullough to pick up. It's a bit of a blend here. And Griff McCullough is going to call a timeout. As you can see, some of the names we recognize from the offensive unit, Griff McCullough, Rex Ewan, Kai O'Donnell are out on this D-line here. And I think that kind of indicates to me, Clay, that they're trying to load it up to close it out here and give their O guys that have been putting in tons of minutes over the course of the season a chance to be on that final line that closes it out. A luxury you only really have when you're up 10 points heading into the final point.
Yeah. And it is hot, too. I mean, these coaches don't want to run their players at this point. If you're a Dyno coach, you're probably not thinking you need to run your D-line into the ground, right? Those players have done a great job this game. They've gone all the way to extend such a huge lead. Now you can start getting some different players out there. And like you're saying, that kind of the reward for the O-line to get that turn and then just make a big play to get it. But interestingly, we're seeing Manitoba still do that slough, which was successful, moderately successful against the Dyno offense here. So I'm curious how that will go. Timeout's over, and I feel like I'm seeing Dyno hop into a horizontal offense.
Yeah, we see number 16, Miles Wong. You see Benjamin Jang. You see Chen out there with Rex Ewan and O'Donnell, with Griff McCullough in the backfield, with Kobe Ma setting up as the bail, and Benjamin Jang in the backfield as well. Ryan Chen upfield. Full contingent. This is what you might call your sort of universe 0.7, although not be universe point here for Dyno. McCullough immediately taps it in, has a few options. Instead, now a little bit stymied as he looks upfield, cuts it across, and that's a turnover here. Manitoba just sagging someone in the lanes, and it was just enough to take away the options for McCullough. Oh, great move there by Pollitt. Sten gets a little bit wrapped up. Pollitt now shoots far side. Lovely throw there. Venkatesamy looks into the backfield. Pollitt now kind of marshaling his troops around the field, looking for out to the break side. Instead, jams one in tight, and that one's made its way through a few sets of hands, but ultimately an incompletion as he shot into a traffic-filled area.
So right now, if you look, Howes is on the mark. Raichura has nobody. He's got his back to the disc. He's just going to wait for someone to come under, and we see two deeps almost. Is Noonan and Pollitt double team Ewan, but it's going to go up anyway.
Airs this one out. This one's going to drift back into bounds. We see a few targets. Oh, O'Donnell and Rex Ewan kind of going against each other for that one, but neither of them being able to stay in bounds. Ray Chura now with the disc. Hits pull it. Looking up field. Goes to Howes. Howes now looking up field. Across field, no one home there as he tried an inside-out break, just fired it a little bit too far. And now there's a middle of the field situation for Dyno, which is much more favorable. Immediately they shoot to Wong. Miles Wong now with the disc. Oh, nice cutting by Kai O'Donnell, who gets open. He sees Rex Ewan going deep. Instead, he hits his target. This is Jang. Jang all the way. Wong rolling all the way to the goal. It is ruled in, and that is it. Observer signals in, and that's the connection you see for the end. It's Ben Jang to Ryan Chen, and this Dyno team, men's and women's, rush the field for the celebration. A one-sided affair here, Clay, as Dyno takes down Manitoba 15-3 in the Junior Open Division. I can say wholeheartedly I was not expecting a 12-point margin in this game.
I wasn't either, but Dyno's commitment to just an fast break handler core defensive line that was just so hungry and always coming up with those explosive plays, especially on the unders. Manitoba perhaps not making the adjustment early enough, noticing that the slough defense was a big advantage to them, but that change coming perhaps when we were already, a 7-8 point deficit. So good adaptation shown by Manitoba, but Dyno, just the speed and the explosiveness just carried it all the way.
Yeah, Dyno was just a little bit too much overall for this Manitoba team. And Clay, this is one of those situations where I feel like momentum goes such a long way, right? It wasn't, just about 90 minutes ago that we were talking about the very first O point for this Manitoba squad where they worked it up, got a goal, then there was a call that brought it back. Right? Totally fair, above board action. But instead of having that layout goal to make it 1-1, they had a turnover. They got marched down on 2 buzz. And there's just a big difference in that situation from tying the game 1-1 and feeling like, okay, we're just going for tit for tat. We're on serve, we're on par, right? If that goes 2-2, if that goes 3-3, all of a sudden Manitoba's feeling themselves and feels like we're right in this game. But before you could blink, it was 4 or 5-1. And just digging yourself out of that mental and physical hole proved to be an impossible task for Manitoba today.
Well, I think that'll about do it for the junior phase, Kev.
This is right. Stay with us all week as we bring you CUC senior action. Signing off from today's Junior Open Championship. I'm Kevin Underhill here with Clay Howlett. I'd like to thank you for tuning in all week with the juniors. Stay put for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as we've got the Canadian Ultimate Championships out here in Surrey, BC. Thanks for watching.